Yeah, as Iceman is pointing out, there will be a small number of 4 and 3 runners, but at this point, if you want to make sure you get in, you have got to get to at least 5 wins. And we got $50 to start. So this is the standard route that our runners go through. They'll be trying to get to Uncle, and there'll be one of 6 items that they can get. And let's see what we got. We got the fire rod. We also have a big 20 in the Uncle Tunnel. So for those that don't know, with standard mode in V29, Uncle no longer is guaranteed to have a sword. There's like a 2% chance that that sword can be there. Otherwise, you can see the bow, you can see either of the canes, you can see the fire rod, or you can also see 10 bombs. And the runners are going to be wanting to try to at least find 1 bomb so that they can get through the back of escape and the 3 items that are there. So you will see the runners trying to farm for at least 1 bomb. And we have a heart container to start in the escape sequence. And ninjembro actually has found that 1 bomb, so he's good to go from here. And we've got Moon Pearl in the second chest, so we've at least got 1 part of our Dark World access so far. Alright, we've got that big key. Ninjembro is going to be rescuing Zelda, and we just find a $5 in the chest in Zelda's cell. Alright. So honestly, at this point, all we have found is items. So the way standard mode works, actually, unless you're playing Key Sanity, all the dungeon items are still going to be in the dungeons themselves. Which means for Hyrule Castle, that means we still have to find a small key in the map. Now, we need that small key to get through the sewers, so we're going to be guaranteed that the sewer chest is a small key since we haven't found it. Alright. So we are into the sewers at this point. Now, Raja has not found a bomb yet, so he still needs to farm 1. And there's that small key that we knew was going to be in the sewers. Oh. Raja's actually out of magic. Now, I think there's a pot with a magic refill, but if he doesn't get that, there are no pots in that room where the rat key is. But he did pick up some of the magic, and Ninjembro is through, and we're going to see what's in the back of Escape. The 3 items we have are Bombos Medallion, a red potion, and a single green rupee. All right. My apologies, everybody. I had a Windows update that has, of course, destroyed all of my settings, and so I'm still trying to figure out how everything is set up from before. So we did see that we have crystals at Eastern and Desert, and we have the green pendant at Hera. And we have just a big 20 on the Lumberjack Cave, so in terms of needing to do Aga 1, we certainly won't need it for the item. Now, the only interesting thing with Raja not getting a bomb in Escape is that if that Bombos Medallion is needed for either Meyer or Turtle Rock, you gotta hope he remembers to go back to pick that up. All right, we are on our way to Blind's Hut, and I believe my co-commentator Rick has joined us. How are you doing?
Well, let's just say things happened, but I'm here and welcome. So, in case anyone has just tuned in, like myself, what's going on here?
Well, we got the fire rod to start. We just picked up a lamp and a cane of Samaria, as you saw in Kakariko. Raja did not find a bomb in the escape sequence, so the Bombos Medallion that is currently sitting in there is still sitting there for Raja. And other than that, that's about it.
That doesn't seem like much.
Although it looks like we did find a blue mail also. Yep, there it was. It was in the well. Alright, so that So Ninjembro will now get the lamp in the chicken hut. Raja will be getting the Cane of Samaria in Blind's hut, and we should be up to even. Ninjembro tried to do a chicken clip, but kind of failed there.
And we won't take any points off for that. We'll have to keep an eye on the dismount later, though.
This is certainly true.
Looks like you just got a heart container from the sick kid.
Oh, that's right. There was also a bottle in Back of Escape. That was the other. It was rupees, bombos, and bottles. So those are the two things that Ninjembro has at this point that Raja doesn't.
That's going to get annoying here for Raja, because that's going to be a backtrack a little bit later on as we see if whether or not the boots were required inside the library. And it turns out that was the single arrow, wasn't it?
Yep, that is exactly what it was. Raja's going to check race game, and it's just a big 20, so just going to nope out from there.
And it looks like Ninjembro is going to go ahead and do the same. So at this point, I think both of these runners are going to be on the same path here. They're going to go and do South Shore. So what turned out to be the uncle item here? Was it the cane, or was that the fire rod?
Fire rod.
That's a great start.
Yeah, it certainly is. Once they find a sword, Skullwoods will be full clearable at that point. And there's always that dreaded Turtle Rock.
Oh, you shut your mouth.
Well, there's a bloomerang to start here in the South Shore.
That could make things interesting if you want to go ahead and find out what the stun prize pack is. But with 626 and 616 rupees, very unlikely we're going to see that from either of the runners if they head up to Zora right now.
Yep, and just the 10 bomb pack at the bottom of the dam. And now we're going to make our way over to the mini troll dorm cave.
Which, that kind of is a troll for Raja, like the tiger, just because of the fact that he couldn't get to the back of escape here. Does employ bomb strats here. Missed on both of his bombs so far. These Moldorms do not want to get tackled here. And Ninjembro going fire rod strats and is going to clear this room faster than Raja did.
And actually gets a clutch full magic decanter to get it filled up. We got
There's our power glove.
Yep. As well as a 5-arrow upgrade, $100, and triple bombs.
That's referee. That means we are one item world act.
Yes. That ever elusive hammer, or we could also get it with Titansmiths. Jembro's not going to bother with Ice Rod Cave and just going to go ahead and do a fake flipper, while Raja is going to go up to Ice Rod Cave and see what we have there.
So we'll go ahead and see if this turns out to be a good decision or not, as Raja does make his way into the Ice Rod Cave. Get to see what's in here first before we see, oh, the hook shot. Well, that is very important.
Yeah, that is very important.
That also is a speed device at this point, because you can clip onto the trees or the boulders and move around Hyrule a little bit faster. But Raja, like the tiger, does know that Hyrule Castle is elusive, the 3 items, and wants to complete that train right now. Did not see what was on the ledge there by Ninjembro, and he realizes that's at this point. Just arrow.
Yep. And Raja, remembering he did not do back of escape, so you're going to get Bombos in the bottle here. And we are going to see what type of lesson King Zora has for us today.
And just a reminder that Zora is within logic. The things that were inside the waterfall was not, because we don't have flippers, but what we have here is in logic, so this could very well be next progression. And it is not. It's just a bomb upgrade. And there's RajaLikeTheTiger using the hook shot, the way that you would want to use the hook shot as a way to move yourself around a little bit faster by attaching to things like the trees and the bushes. And we're gonna see Raja head up to Death Mountain. Did we see what was at the
Lumberjack Ledge only had a big 20. Raja getting the old man, and Ninjembro's gonna go talk to another old man and get the 3 items in his closet.
He's not gonna really talk to him. He's just gonna go to the back 3. He doesn't need to talk to the old man since we know which dungeon is the green pendant. That is the Tower of Hair. Get our second bottle in the back, and let's see what we get from this old man. Just some love.
Old men giving love today.
No comment.
Now for Raja, this is gonna pretty much be it. Or no, what am I thinking? Because he has a hook shot, he can do Eastside Death Mountain.
Yeah, this is why this is a more lucrative play at this point. If we get Titansmith up here, that is a full clear of Death Mountain, both light and dark world. So great decision to go through here. Ninjembro making a gamble on Eastern Paths. Oh, the flute and Spectacle Rock.
Yes, indeed, we have a flute.
That flute will help around with transportation purposes and really doesn't open anything new at this point, but with Titansmith, it would open up one new location.
Yep, once they get the Titansmiths, that would open up the Mire area. And actually with Kane, if Bombos is what opens up Mire, you could actually get into Mire pretty early.
Yeah, but we still need one more item before we can do that.
Oh yeah, because you need the sword to activate said medallion.
Yep, that is correct. And just a note for our tracker Iceman, Raja did pick up the bombos out of the back of his skate. With that little thing, we say a very big appreciation for Iceman doing the tracking for us on this run. As we go ahead and see what the 3 items in Eastern is. We saw a compass in the first chest, didn't see what was in the second chest though.
It was just $50.
So we have seen one of the 3 items then.
We're about to see what the next one is here. It's the big key, so we'll be able to open a big chest.
Yep. And we get ourselves 20 rupees and a piece of heart on the bottom 2 of the Paradox Cave. And there's the map, so we have access to only one more of the items here at Eastern. The third one is going to be bow blocked.
Yep, it is it is on the Armos Knights.
So bomb upgrade. Oh, there's the Titansmith up on Death Mountain. So Raja is going to be able to full clear this Death Mountain. Also half magic and our 3rd bottle. Nice find.
Yes. Now what's going to be interesting about that is that pretty much means Ninjembro, unless there's an item here that would lead him somewhere else, like either the hammer or the book, at some point, he's going to run out of options and have to go back to Ice Rod Cave, which, in a weird sort of way, if you go up to the Death Mountain and get the flute, it would actually help him, like, flute back to 8 to go get it.
Yeah, but both of these are going to be a little bit of a time. I don't think you're going to gain any time whatsoever, as either way, you've got to do some walking, whether it's to Kakariko Village to activate the flute or walking around to the Ice Rod Cave as it is. As we do see Ninjembro heading up the mountain, so Ninjembro is going to have to double up on this mountain because of the lack of the hook shot. As we go through the small and the slow way through spiral cave. We're going to go ahead and see what's in here. Oh, the shovel. And no, Raja, you have the mitts. No.
Nope.
Oh, well, that means Raja's going to have to go back up the mountain. That's simple.
Instead, he's taking that shovel. I'm gonna go dig up the dig spot.
And that's unfortunate for Raja. The flu's going to help get him back up there, but it's just more of a you're having to double back up the mountain when you really don't need to. And this is something that will help cancel out Ninjembro's having to go up this mountain twice, as shovel yields a piece of heart.
Nothing much there. Ninjembro will be picking up this flute here once he sees it, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely. Ninjembro knows this isn't progression, but he knows this is going to help him get around the world. And that, at this point, leaves Ninjembro with two options. Either one, you go to Ice Rod Cave, or two, you go to Agina.
Yeah, those will be the only two options Ninjembro has left.
So both of our runners are going to end up heading over to activate the flute. Raja is going to make this detour. And getting that flute actually makes this detour less punishing, because now he can double up and get the sick kid while he's here activating the flute.
We're going to see Raja do that. Ninjembro won't be far behind him.
Now, Raja's going to next head, I would have to assume, head into the Dark World, do the village of Outcasts. But at this point, very hard to determine. Skullwoods is not beatable because we need a sword to beat that. Thievstown is technically beatable, but you might not be able to get all the items because of the lack of the hammer. But we do see Raja ending up doing the bomb, the fake flippers. He uses the bomb to put himself at the very edge of the screen. And this is a thing that I saw once from Slim Kirby myself. And that pretty much taught me that if you use a bomb at that edge, that puts you in the right position every single time at the expense of the health that it takes you to get there. So Ninjembro's going to check the Ice Rod Cave, get the hook shot, and probably wishes that he ended up going here before going up Death Mountain.
Yep. Now, when Ninjembro did his fake flipper, he did not go to Hobo. So this is a new thing we're going to see from Raja, which is just 10 arrows.
So Raja's going to try to set things up here to get back into the water. Does it perfectly. Ninjembro picking up the hook shot. Now, Ninjembro's next move is up to the mountain. That's the progression at this point. He's got the Wealth of the Chest that we mentioned before, 7 versus the one that sits over at Agina. And we know that Dark World access is via the mountain. But it will be interesting to see if Ninjembro ends up going into the Dark World here on Death Mountain after picking up the mitts.
Yeah, that's the other thing that Raja did not do while he was up on Death Mountain. We know those Titan's mitts are in Paradox Cave, so it was possible. Just for some reason, he noped out and decided not to do the dark portion.
Well, he may have been smelling that shovel as a progression, and unfortunately, the shovel turned out to be a red herring.
All right, Raja gonna get his life lesson from Zora.
And he's going to probably head to the Dark World after he's done with here via save and quit. And it's likely at this point that the Dark World access is going to be via the Village of Outcasts, because the other place you can go at this point is the Mire Shed area. And as we pointed out before, that's only 2 items versus everything that you can pick up over in the Village of Outcast area.
Chad also pointing out that the book was on the Lake Hylia Island. So that would certainly get us access to Desert Palace. once we find the mirror.
Well, you get desert access regardless if you get the mirror or not.
It is true.
Because if you get the mirror, hey, you got access to desert via the portal in the mirror area, and if you get the book, well, you needed the mirror to get the book anyway. So Raja's heading up here, and we did not get a map check from either of these runners in the Dark World at this point. And Ninjembro going through the Super Bunny Cave, and Raja is making his way up to Skull Woods.
We have 2 items here, and even though they have the fire rod, you still need a sword to cut the curtain to Mothula, so we're not going to be able to finish unless we find the sword. We got the map to start there.
And we get a heart container in the Super Bunny Cave and 50 rupees.
Yep.
Useless compass inside the second chest we see in Skull Woods.
Yep. All right, now we got a map check. Skull Woods and Thieves Town are your pendants. Turtle Rock and Swamp Palace are your 5-6 crystals.
That's a good session right there. We do know that we are going to need medallions. And likewise, we're going to find out what we need for Turtle Rock right now. It turns out to be the Quake. As we see a bomb jump coming up here from RajaLikeTheTiger, Ninjembro checking out the Hookshot Cave. Is there something big in here? It might take Raja a little while to get in here since he already cleared out East Step Mountain.
Oh! We got
that would be big.
Sorry, didn't mean to step on you there.
So we saw one important item, the bow, and I think that's pretty important at this point. Ninjembro did not claim the shovel while he was up here, but that bow is going to send him in a different direction.
And the thing is, we know the bow or the shovel spot only has a piece of heart, so if he doesn't pick up that shovel, it will not be a problem for Ninjembro at this point.
Yeah, but Ninjembro is going to head up here to the Dark World the same way that Raja did here through the village portal. As Raja checks to see what we have inside this last chest. There's the Quake to get into Turtle Rock. So Pendant Skull Woods was required.
Yes, indeed. That also means we have, well, sword pending. We have early Turtle Rock access.
And I just want to point out that the second item of Skull Woods is going to be behind the fire rod block. Now, they possibly can access that item at this point via the one that is through the under chamber there. If Mothula has it, then obviously we can't get there because we still need the sword. But who knows? The seed has already done some weird things to our runners. But Ninjembro going here through Skull Woods as well, so therefore the advantage that Raja got with the Quake is going to be less, and it's going to help Ninjembro out some because he now knows, that Turtle Rock is Quake.
We got some flippers in the C-shaped house of Village of Outcasts.
We're halfway to getting that book. Now, Raja is going to have to be careful with this bomb. He only has one chance, and he gets it, but he does get the bomb underneath the bush as well, so no real problems as we find a piece of heart in the bombable hut. And gets the second one for his troubles at this point, so that definitely helps RajaLikeTheTiger. Let's go ahead and play a chess game where we're going to find the item in the first go around. Let's see what it is. A piece of heart. How vanilla?
How vanilla of the game.
So next stop is Thieves Town. As I mentioned before, this is a dungeon where you can beat it. It is for a pendant, so it's possible we may see the first 4 and then get out.
Yeah, because with not having the hammer right now, the only item that cannot be checked is the Thieves Town big chest, because it is hammers are around, or hammer pegs are around it.
So you see the red rupee is the first item as ninjembro opens up the back side of Skull Woods. And as we mentioned before, this is the one chest you can get without the sword. If this is the second item and it's a big item, that's another advantage for ninjembro.
Ninjembro having a little trouble there, but gets through, and it's just a small key.
Which means Mothula has the final item. But that was intentional for him to have that problem. He wanted to take the hits because he was going to do a death abuse here to get out of here a lot faster than it would for him to walk around.
Makes sense. And actually, Raja is doing the same thing.
Yeah, this was the first ward and get out.
Yep.
So 30 minutes in, now RajaLikeTheTiger can only beat pendant dungeons. Ninjembro can beat one crystal dungeon, that's Eastern. And as we pointed out before, the Armos Knights are going to have that third and final item of Eastern. Could it be an item that's important?
Certainly could. The other interesting thing here is that right now, all three of the pendant dungeons are pending a sword and a hammer are full clearable. So that could potentially lead to something being on the pedestal.
Well, we know where there's a book that we can do some reading to find out as ninjembro picks up his flippers. Raja doing a little bit digging here, trying to see what item comes out of the digging game. And there's a heart container, and at 7 hearts, Raja decides to take it.
Certainly wouldn't blame him this early in the game.
So Raja's not going to do the trading sequence with the breadsmiths at this point. I believe Raja wants to make his way over to Hype Cave.
Stumpy just having some explosives.
How explosive. And I see chat commenting about the hammer logically being required for blind. No, it is not. These runners can beat blind right now with the arsenal that they have. That cane of Samaria can be used against blind.
Certainly can. And we are going to see what we have at Hype Cave today.
Okay, do we get some hype in this Hype Cave today? Let's go ahead and find out. First up is a heart container. Not necessarily hype. 3 bombs, an arrow capacity upgrade, our first shield, and an arrow capacity upgrade. Checks referee, grade the Hype Cave.
Ugh.
I don't know how to numerize your ugh, but I'm going to assume that it's probably below 1.
Yes.
As Raja makes his way to Dark Death Mountain, we'll pick up the bow soon. Ninjembro going deeper.
Yeah. It's certainly been an interesting race to watch at this point, where both runners have been making interesting gambles in terms of choosing to go into certain places. And so far at this point, the seed has basically forced them to do those checks, but this is one so far that will still be something that is not necessarily has to be done. There's still other places that we can see.
I will point this out, though, that Raja has not gone through Eastern, so this is going to be greater incentive for Raja to go into Eastern Palace. And if the Armos Knights have our progression, Ninjembro's going to put it off because it's one item, and Ninjembro, I know at this point, is going to try to wait until he has at least the mirror so he can double it up with the Palace of Darkness.
just got a 5 bomb upgrade in the attic of Thieves Town.
So we already got the key, so therefore we could possibly see another item coming up here in the maiden cell. We don't know if the big chest is going to have anything at this point. So Raja will go ahead and pick up the piece of heart here. There's the bow. So again, I think Raja's next play is to go to Eastern.
And then Ninjembro's gonna burn that red potion.
Yeah, while you're going through here, you're pretty much on a gamble as it is. And if you end up taking a death here, it just will make the gamble even worse. Because you may have to double back to get the mushroom, which is very interesting at this point. Now, guess what that means?
Fetch quest?
We could get... Well, that's first of all is a fetch quest, but we're now a hammer away from possibly having the ability to do that powder glitch. Or the mirror. Either or.
Yep. Either one of those will work. As you surmise, Raja is heading for Eastern as Ninjembro goes into blind and is going to be using Cane of Samaria strats.
It's the only thing that Ninjembro has against blind, and you see how he's going to do this fight. He's going to place the Cane of Samaria block, and as blind is swirling down or swirling up, he's going to go ahead and use the fire beam of the Samaria block, and that's going to hit him. He's not getting the timing down properly, but he's doing a good enough of a job that he's going to be able to solve this fight. And blind has a piece of heart, which completes a heart container, gets the red pendant. Not a bad fight, but I think this also means, based on everything we saw, that big chest is not required. Because we got one item in the first 4, we got the second item upstairs, third item was in the maiden cell, fourth item was on blind. That's all 4 items.
Yep. Now we do still have an item pending with that mushroom, if Ninjembro does decide to turn it into the witch.
Answering the chat, nope, that fight was totally in logic. Again, you don't need the hammer to beat Thieves Town. The only thing you need the hammer for is to get the contents of the big chest, and the big chest will never ever be needed to get you to blind. Beating blind with a Cane of Samaria is within the logic. So here's something that Ninjembro is going to do that we didn't see from RajaLikeTheTiger. He's going to grab the breadsmith, which means we're going to get some information here that we didn't see from Raja. And if the breadsmiths have any items, then that is also a possibility. We also have that mushroom, as you mentioned before. That could come into play.
It is also possible with the flippers, that you could swim over to the pod area and check Pyramid Ledge and Catfish.
It's possible. Would we see Ninjembro do it on this cycle? It's a tough move to make, because no matter how you route it, it's going to take a while to get there.
Frankly, we don't really have that many more places to look. Ice Palace is in logic. Yeah, because you have the fire rods, so you can get all the way through.
Access to it is in logic, but you can't beat it because of the hammer.
Right. And all of the other dungeons we can't get into at this point. So, if Armos doesn't have an item, the logic, it is certainly in logic to use the flippers to swim over to the pod area.
Yep, and we're going to just go ahead and see Ninjembro now take the breadsmiths back. So we're going to see what that item is really fast. Well, as fast as you can while you're walking.
Jeremiah is one of the NPCs that will run with you if you have the boots, but, well, we don't have the boots, so can't run fast at this point.
All right, is this part of the sequence? Not for those bombs, they are. We'll see whether or not he does the Dark World equivalent here with the chest. No, he's not going to go do so. I have a feeling we are going to trade that mushroom in.
Yep.
All right. Was Thieves Town a total bust?
Yep.
Yep, with that heart container, it was, unless the pedestal is required. And to be honest with you, at this point, we are a hammer away from having everything. Well, we are a sword and a hammer, or a sword and a mirror away from having access to all three of the pendants. So Ninjembro now see the book here, and we're going to go ahead and see what's at the Armos Knights. The Armos Knights, are you something important? Oh, no, you're not. You are just some bombs. So 3 locations, something's going to have something. Whether it is... Oh, wait. Hold on, Jax Referee. We're good. Still got 2 more chests we can check over at the Myers Shed.
Oh yeah, we can't get to the Myers Shed. We can certainly do that.
That could be where Raja's going. Yes, that is.
He's gonna check Desert Ledge and Aegina's Cave, which we have not checked yet.
Well, meanwhile, Ninjembro's gonna go ahead and do the same thing, except for he's gonna go inside the stone. Let's go ahead and see what we need to get into Misery Mire. It is going to be the Bombos.
So at this point, we have both of the medallions we need to get into Mire and Turtle Rock. Now we just need a sword to use them.
Wouldn't this be funny if we find the sword? No, we find silver arrows, though. Oh, the boots at Aegina!
All right.
Raja's gonna start running fast.
All that really does open up for Raja is the flanctuary locations, but once you get into desert, he's guaranteed to be able to do it without being boots locked. And we are going to see Ninjembro go in and finish Eastern with those silver arrows.
Yeah, they're going to be a little bit faster for Ninjembro, not a whole lot faster. 1 arrow versus 3 per Armos Knight. As Raja does pick up the silver arrows. Now, the question now becomes, is progression in the eastern part of the Dark World, either Pyramid, Catfish, or the Palace of Darkness, or is progression at the bootlock locations? Raja's taking this piece of the logic, and we're going to go ahead and check King's Tomb first. First check in, here we go to King's Tomb. Does King's Tomb have any further progression? Bomb Upgrade says no.
And now we'll do I imagine Raja will do the Bonk Rocks next.
It makes total sense at this point, you might as well. And if it's not here, then we know, based on everything that we have seen so far, that the progression turns out to be on the Eastern Dark World.
Which could include Ice Palace.
Oh my goodness, but there's a sword! Okay, now the things get a little interesting because that now opens up the entrance to Misery Mire, and Misery Mire is fully completable at this point. So too is Mothula over at Skull Woods.
Now we're gonna see what Raja decides to do going northwest. He's going back to Skull Woods.
He knows an item is still in here. We know it's going to be at Mothula. And this would actually give Raja one pendant here. Ninjembro has a pendant over in Thieves Town. This is one item away from shaping up to be a possible pendant or pedestal required seed, but we're still too far away from really calling it that at this point.
Yeah, with getting that sword, we can finish up Skullwoods. So really, it just comes down to Hera. So either the hammer or the mirror is needed to get to Hera, but once you get there, we have all the items we need for Hera.
Which means the opposite could be on the pedestal. So too could the ice rod.
And that's pretty much it.
Hammer or the mirror and the ice rod. But it also could be powder.
Yeah, if that leads to magic, if Magic Bat were to have either of those two items.
So this is an interesting decision to finish up on a pendant dungeon before you make your way into a fully beatable crystal dungeon such as Misery Mire. You may not be confident on his Mire play, and we do find a Feast of Heart turns out to be at the bumper cave. And Raja going to the Fire Rod strats needs to get Mothula to move out of that corner. There we go.
Having that half magic will certainly help with the fight.
Yeah. Blue Mail's also going to help here against Mothula's physical attacks. There we go. We got it. All right. We know the item is going to come off Mothula, and it turns out to be the red mail. As Ninjembro is going to go check Catfish for us.
It'll be interesting to see where Ninjembro goes from there. So we know Mire is full clearable at this point. Ice Palace you can get into, you still need the hammer to finish. Pod you can get into, you still need the hammer to finish. Those are the three. No, actually you can get into Turtle Rock now that you have the sword.
Nope. Need the hammer.
Oh right. You need the hammer to get the portal, my bad.
Oh, the sword of the Catfish.
All right. For once, Catfish has something useful.
So if Raja makes his way up to the northern section here, heads over to Catfish, that would be Master Sword for Raja.
Yep, the logic will make sure that you can at least get up to Tempered Sword. You can do Master Sword Ganon, but it would certainly be nice if you had Tempered or Buttered Sword. And we are going to see Raja make his way there.
Yep, so he will be having the Master Sword real soon, as Ninjembro has his Fighter Sword, likely to go into the Palace of Darkness at this point. Don't see any reason why he wouldn't, but he does need to make it over to Agena at some point, get those boosts, because mobility does add up after a while. Red Rupee on the Desert Ledge, time to head over to the Palace of Darkness for Ninjembro.
My question for you is, would you do that? Because honestly, if I was in the runner's positions right now, I would probably be making my way to Mire.
I myself would probably be thinking about Mire, given the health at this point, especially since Raja just picked up the red mail. But I can understand this idea as well. You're trying to follow the breadcrumbs, but, you know, getting that sword is a breadcrumb. it activates your ability to get into Misery Mire at this point.
Either way, we are going to see Ninjembro make his way into Pod, picking up Kiki the Extortionist here.
Kiki's just looking for a little bit of dinner scraps, you know. You can't really blame a monkey for wanting to take 110 rupees so it can eat at the Red Lobster. Or whatever the Hyrulean equivalent of it is.
I mean, those biscuits that they have there are very tasty.
All right, let's go ahead and see what we have here in the Palace of Darkness. A little more annoying because we do not have the mirror. We find a small key inside the first chest, so we don't necessarily have to go to the mimics right away.
Without having the mirror, I kind of prefer to route it. Well, okay, let me word it this way. If I have the bow and I don't have the mirror in this situation that the runners have, I kind of prefer to do the bow that way because it feels like the flow is a little better. And we have swag to start in Pod.
How's that swag? I'm waiting.
I don't know. I didn't have anything for that. We have the big key at the basement of Pod.
Which means that by logic, you do have to go through the mimics. Every time I try to use the bug net on Aga 2, it just always backfires on me.
I certainly feel you there.
But then again, that's why I'm not working for a Major League Baseball team, because my batting average is absolutely atrocious. And my Swagadum strats are so bad that it is a display of that poor batting average.
Mm-hmm. I would concur there.
So Ninjembro is going to kill himself. Doesn't want to walk around at this point. Totally understand that here. Gets himself down to the end of his life. There we go. Yeah, we'll go back up to the start now. Unfortunately, Raja's going to have to do the same maneuver.
And he has a lot more health to do it with. And
he's got red mail, but it doesn't matter against these spikes. But I'm surprised he didn't try to take a few hits before going up the stairs.
And actually, to the earlier point I had about the routing, I forgot. You need the hammer to do the routing I was wanting to do. Because basically, what I was referring to earlier was that you would just hammer where Raja is, and then go around. But again, without the hammer, can't really do that.
That's totally annoying. Raja's just gonna walk around, screw the death.
All right, so we found a bunch of keys so far in Pod, so now it's time to... We should be getting a lot of items here in the back of Pod.
Yeah, we've already seen one via the bug catching net, and Raja's already caught up to Ninjembro now. Granted, Raja didn't check the big key chest, but that's because Raja, I guess at this point, does understand that that has to be a small key in the big key chest at this point because of how many keys you're supposed to get early on in this run. Heart containers number 2. Another key for key.
We've got a big 20 and another key.
And we're going to see Ninjembro collect those 2 same items as Raja makes his way, I would presume at this point, over to the left, but we'll go key for key at this point. I don't know if Raja really wanted to go in. Was probably debating about not going in. Yeah, those sword swings definitely meant that Raja did not want to go in, but had just thought about it way too late and had already opened the door, so he had to go to get the key.
Yep.
And we've seen ninjembro and both Raja will do the same. They're going to set themselves up for another death warp because you're at the end of the line here. Either you get the hammer in the next two chests or your pod days are done.
And we just have a map and a compass in the dark maze so far, so moment of truth.
Is this vanilla? It is
Nope.
not. The answer is not here, which means the answer is either in Ice Palace or, say it with me, Misery Mire. We had to work on that, Jex referee.
Well, I had to figure out where exactly you were going first, which, speaking of, ninjembro is heading there right now.
It looks like Raja's thinking other things at this point, as ninjembro is heading and doing the Misery Mire play. What would really be nice for ninjembro is he finds the mirror, because that would get him to Agina, which would allow him to get the boots. And to anyone who's saying Turtle Rock, we do not have the device to get into Turtle Rock. You need the hammer to pound those pegs to activate the portal.
And Raja is going to head back into Thieves Town. Now, at this point, we know there's nothing else here. The mushroom was the only other item, but that led to a heart container at the Witch. We have two items here in Misery Mire. Thankfully for ninjembro, having those silver arrows mean Vitreous will be a very easy fight. Otherwise, Fighter Sword Vitreous is not good.
Let's see what we have here. We find the big key inside of the first chest here. So we have ourselves set up for the God Misery Mire. But obviously, not being in go mode, we can't take advantage of it.
Nope. Oh, there's a mirror.
That is huge at this point, because not only does that get us up to the Tower of Hera in case that other pendant is needed, gets us the book in case that is needed as well, that does open up some more possibilities. And as I mentioned before, it could get ninjembro to go into Agina.
You know what it also could mean? A certain smashing implement could also be on a certain place that chat likes to put things.
I have no idea what you are trying to allude to.
Master Hammer?
I have no idea what you're referring to. Are you dare saying that this could be one of those kind of evil seeds that could put a very important item on a particular thing that requires 3 pendants to grab?
I mean, this is version 29. There have certainly been a lot of important items in obscure places.
Version 29 doesn't care what you had to think. Ninjembro heading up here, and this is a very interesting decision to do this, considering the fact that he already has the big key and has just already found both items in this Misery Mire. I do want to point out that RajaLikeTheTiger will have 2 of the pendants at this once he is done with this dungeon, but Ninjembro, with that mirror, could make Skull Woods the last stop in the event that the pedestal does turn out to be required.
All right. Ninjembro, sorry.
I was gonna say, for those tuning in at the 1 hour mark, we are still looking for the ice rod. We are still looking for the hammer. Both of those could be on that pedestal that Jack's referee is talking about. This is a 3-2 match. The winner, they have a chance to play for brackets next week. The loser, well, they're not necessarily eliminated, but they're going to have a real hard time convincing the tiebreakers for such a position. We'll see how things go. Ninjembro's going to have to be careful here.
Only 2 hearts left.
And we see Ninjembro doing things the normal fashion way. No Meyer rod for him.
We also want to give a shout out to Akamitsuki666, wanting that Hammerhead dream, donating 500 bits. Thank you very much.
Thank goodness Ninjembro has the silver arrows. Otherwise, this would be a more frustrating fight at this point. And Raja's about to get some bad news. Oh, Ninjembro, you didn't need to take that hit. Come on. Okay, we're going to use the blue potion just in case. Because this is not a dungeon you want to have to go back into.
No, not at all. Ninjembro mowing down those eyes with the silver arrows. 2 more to the big eye here, and we're done.
He ended up taking a hit, so using that potion saved his life. As Ninjembro clears up another crystal, that is 2 crystals here for Ninjembro. Raja is putting off this Misery Mire play, and it has turned out that this play is the move that is needed at this point.
Now, with getting that mirror in Mire, we will see, yep, Ninjembro gonna get that mirror out.
He's gonna go Checkerboard Cave first. If he goes Agina, he's gonna do it after Desert. But the question is, will he be able to beat Desert at this point?
But once you get the boots, or once you get those boots, Desert would be full clearable. You got the fire source, you have a B-Torp in Checkerboard Cave, and you got the lift upgrade to get there, so...
I didn't know you needed that B-Torp in order to beat Desert.
I'm trying to do 2 things at once here.
Well, you know how it is when you try to talk and chew bubblegum at the same time.
I don't think Ninjembro returned the lunchbox as Raja is doing right now. And we have a cane.
You know what that opens up by logic? That opens up... Oh no, Raja is going into Ice Palace.
Oh no.
By the way, what was on the torch? I forgot I didn't see what was on the torch.
I'm checking it on the restream. We got the map there.
Oh, so yep, this is not beatable at this point. So Ninjembro needs to go to the Agina right now.
Yeah,
is he going to go to Agina? Yes, he is.
It was the small key that was on the torch.
So yep, he's going to Agina now and probably will be bashing into the wall, wondering, why couldn't I get here sooner? Probably may think he's a little behind because of the fact that Agina is a Spear 1 location.
Yep, you've been able to come here from the moment word go on this race, and 1 hour and 4 minutes in, you finally decide to go check that you have some footwear here.
So Ninjembro's going to go back into the desert at this point. I don't see him not doing this because you already cleared out Misery Mire. You're already over here. You might as well go back in.
All right, so back to your earlier point. Other than Spike Cave, which you still need a hammer to do.
That's right.
Ah! That's what I thought Kana Bryan was referring to.
You see? It happens to everybody. You forget certain intricate details. until you're running these races. This is how you end up being like a runner who goes into Spike Cave, the hammer in hand with a invincibility source, but you have no gloves. Whoops.
All right, so Ninjembro making that second trip into desert. Now we'll be able to full clear it.
So if we really get desperate, we can go ahead and grab that book and find out what's on the pedestal. But also, that book also gets us the possibility of what's at the Ether Medallion as well as the Bombos Medallion. Now, Ninjembro's missing sword is the one that is over at the Bonk Rocks. He's going to go over there at some point soon after he's done with Desert. Red Rupee is one of the items, so I believe now the play... No, he's going to not go with the play I thought he was going to make at this point. I thought he was going to go immediately to Lamo 2, see if they had the second item, and then go back in here only if he had to.
Certainly is a feasible play. But instead, the piece of heart is there, so we now know Lambo doesn't have an item, but it has a crystal. So, realistically at this point, Ice Palace still could have something.
Yeah, but the possibilities are starting to really wind down. I think Raja only has access to 2 more items here without the hammer.
Yeah, because you can only get the...
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't get the cold stare. You also cannot get to the 2 chests that are behind that trap floor.
Yeah, the second floor and where the big key chest turns out to be. But now we get the big key, which now opens up that possibility as well. So 3 chests in Ice Palace are behind the hammer. Raja is down to 2 possibilities at this point. And half magic, silver arrows. This is going to be an easy fight for Ninjembro. Goodbye. Thanks for playing.
Raja forgetting that you kind of need the hammer to go further and immediately goes down.
Yeah, he sees the pegs there and he's like, oh, that's right. And we find a compass. So Raja's only chance now, well, his only chance would have been if there was something in the big key chest, or rather than the big chest. He ended up saving and quitting because he doesn't have a key, so that means he really can't get back to that spot.
Nope. Because in the hookshop door, that hookshop room, the door is permanently locked. There's even though you can hookshop back there, you can't get through the door.
Yeah, you can't kill the enemies and go back through. And Ninjembro is going to go to the Bonk Rocks. He will have the Master Sword at this point. We'll go to King's Tomb after that. Where does Ninjembro go after this with the mirror in hand? That's going to be an interesting question. And I'm surprised that Ninjembro isn't doing this to check what's on the graveyard ledge.
That is a potential location. We also have south of Grove Ledge.
Yeah, and for Ninjembro, he also does have the purple chest, so that's still a possibility for him at this point. He could route this in, where he's going to go and do the purple chest, the south of Haunted Grove, and then maybe go grab that book, because that could be required now as we make our way over towards Bombos.
Now, the only other place, we've listed all the overworld locations, but there is Tower of Hera that is now available with that mirror.
So choose the Ether Tablet.
Ooh, but Ninjembro mirroring and fluting away before doing that South Grove check.
Well, that's an interesting decision at this point. I'm wondering what's going through Ninjembro's mind. Maybe he is thinking about the book and thinking that it would be easier for him to go a different route at this point. How does he play this, though? That's going to be the question. I think both of these runners are getting to that point where they've got to really figure out what they're doing here. So Ninjembro's going to go back into the dark world, and if he was actually thinking, he could have just gone right back to the portal that he had at the south end of the village, because that didn't go away when he fluted.
Nope.
So we continue on this seed as we try to figure out where things are. Where does chat seem to think that the next progression turn is going to be? Could it be in south of Haunted Grove?
That's what we're about to find out now. All we're really missing from Go Mode at this point is just an ice rod and the hammer.
And what do we see inside the south of Haunted Grove?
The hammer!
Yes, it's hammer time! That is defined as a right order seed. Now, Ninjembro is not going to go ahead and grab that book. Maybe he may have thought about doing that had he not found... Well, he's got another way into the dark world too now via the hammer, so it doesn't really matter at this point.
That also means Swamp Palace is full clearable.
And go to his eyes. And the only way this can be a pedestal required seed now is if it is the ice rod or the item that leads you to the ice rod. And there's a whole lot of places we can check now that we have the hammer.
We're going to start off in Swamp Palace.
Totally understandable. You get 6 items here. Plus Swamp is part of your 5-6 combo. So let's go ahead and go into the swamp, 6 items inside. And this is part of the area here where we get behind the hammer on our on our list of items. Let's go ahead and see what we have inside.
We're guaranteed to have a small key there to get through that door. And here's where the randomization begins.
Roger finishes off with Vitreous. We get the big key in the second chest of the Swamp Palace. So you just got the hammer. It's 72 minutes into the seed, and the hammer is one of those things that unlocks a lot in the seed. It's kind of like the Moon Pearl and the Titansmith. What would you assume is going through Ninjembro's mind at this point?
I have to think he's behind. He has to think he's behind, because those boots have been there in the Guinness Cave the whole time. So usually when you're running, the main idea to keep in your head is that you've done everything wrong and your opponent has done everything right.
And considering the fact that we were an ice rod away from go mode, wouldn't Ninjembro even bother with the left-hand side swamp at this point?
This is the point where I bring up that ice rod was in left side, and I lost my race yesterday because of that. We have a map at the bottom of Swamp Palace. $20
And
in
we
big chest.
have that, and Ninjembro is not going to let that happen to him. What happened to you? So we are going to go ahead and check to see what's on the left-hand side of this swamp palace.
Ninjembro also remembering to not flood the key, and picking that up before flooding the left side of the swamp palace.
So Roger's picking up his piece of heart out of the big chest in desert, heading right to the lamb molas, and Roger may look like he is behind at this point, and for many intent purposes, he could very well be feeling behind. But if he makes the plays and goes and gets that hammer soon, well, that changes things. Especially if Ninjembro full clears Ice Palace in search of the Ice Rod, because Raja has already searched some of it, but not all of Ice. It all depends on where this Ice Rod turns out to be.
Yeah, this race is pretty much going to come down to where the Ice Rod is, and if Raja picks it up before Ninjembro.
Never mind. Is Ice Rod found in swamp, 1 hour 16:15. Ninjembro, the first of these two runners into
Go mode.
Forget everything I was just trying to tease with that statement. Forget everything I was just trying to say with that. Ninjembro getting that will probably check a few more chests that are on the way in hopes of finding the tempered sword. But at this point, Ninjembro has no other items he needs to find. And I'm sorry, Jax referee, the pet dream is dead.
That was also the exact same chest where the Ice Rod was in my race last night.
Are you sure these two didn't get the same seed you just had?
Unless you're doing a double dip of Eastern Palace, a double dip of Turtle Rock, and what other fun things did I have to do last night? Oh, boots on Cold Stare. No.
Well, Ninjembro did have the double dip Eastern.
But we are seeing Ninjembro just going straight for Argus and not bothering with the two chests in the bottom of that basement.
Yeah, I had no time to do that at this point, especially how late Ninjembro got the boots. As you were mentioning, because of how late he got the boots, he knows he's got that feeling behind going through his mind. And Raja, no, you don't have the hammer. You don't have the hammer. Yeah, that's not the hammer. That is the lamb. We're going to have to try that one again. Oh, where are we going now?
Hera?
Hera, yep. Oh, no. Let's see, that's 2 missed arrows, 3 missed arrows. What the heck was that kind of move there from Argus?
He does not want to get a silver arrow to the face.
There we go. What kind of maneuver was that? He kind of just turned away when he got to that silver arrow. I think Raja is playing this as if this is a pedestal required seed at this point.
Unfortunately for him, it is not.
It is totally not, and this is not the right move to make, unfortunately, knowing that what we know at this point. And I think Raja may be making some gambles based on how late we're getting into the seed, how late he ended up getting that mirror into Meyer, because all the other gambles have been going on wrong. I think Raja's all in on this being a pedestal seed, or he's 3-3.
Well, Ninjembro is going to head to Ice Palace.
And in go mode too, so Ninjembro has quite the advantage at this point. This is Ninjembro's race to lose.
Now, this is a long shot, but the only thing that could maybe help Raja is if We do not find another sword upgrade, and Ninjembro is having problems with Master Sword Ganon, because you have to use sword spins for Ganon to be damaged with the Master Sword.
But we know that Ninjembro has the ability to do a Master Sword again, and he was able to pull it off in the last tournament, in the spring tournament of last year when he went 4-0 in the groups. Went, I believe, to the round of 16 before he bowed out. But the swords came into play for Ninjembro in that scene where his opponent ended up getting a butter sword on a tablet. But that was back when we had progressive swords. We didn't have progressive swords, rather.
And this is where I say that I did not join this community until the fall tournament, so that's why I had no idea of what you just, no recollection of what you just described.
Well, you probably heard some words back in the day as Ninjembro pulls off the Ice Palace bomb jump. Let's see if he gets it first try. And he does! Exclamation point IPBJ for more information about that. But you see some words about version 18. That was the version that was being played back when we did the spring tournament of last year. That was the last version before progressive swords, progressive mails, progressive shields, and progressive mitts were a thing. So you could easily find the butter sword to be your first sword. And turned out to be the case where you could find a butter sword somewhere mysteriously through the world of Hyrule.
Interesting. But speaking of swords, Ninjembro isn't even bothering with checks. He's going straight for Cold Stare.
He has no reason to do so. Like I said, he's got no reason to do so. I would have thought maybe he would have tried to go with the Freezor chest. We know they didn't have anything in it, but again, he's got no reason to check these chests at this point. Raja is on a path of pain at this point because he's going to find things that are not going to help him at all.
Yeah, Raja really needs to get to South Grove Cave and get that hammer.
Yeah, but he's got a pedestal to pull at this point. Well, we know it's not going to be the item that leads us to victory. Oh, wait, where are we going now? Okay, I guess we are not going to head to that pedestal just yet. He's going to check Graveyard Ledge first.
Alright, we got a piece of heart on Cold Stare and crystal number 5 for Ninjembro.
Yep. He's got to go back into the Palace of Darkness. And now this is one of the reasons why Ninjembro probably feels like he's behind. And that is because he went and did almost a full clear of the Palace of Darkness, except for the trip to Helmassar in search of the hammer or in search of progression. We found out that there was no such thing as progression in Pod. But that is exactly where Ninjembro is going to be heading. We're going to head to Pod first, then to Turtle Rock next. So at what point do we pull the pedestal for Raja? We've got all 3 of the pendants, but we are still opting not to go ahead and do that. We're going to head to South Grove now, and that is where we're going to find the hammer. Now, what does Raja do next? Do we go back into ice? Do we go into to swamp? If Raja skips left-hand side swamp on a gamble because he's behind, well, that's it. We're going to probably be seeing a forfeit at that point when Ninjembro finishes up in about 15 minutes from now.
Well, Raja gets that hammer.
And Raja is going to make the play for swamp at this point. Good decision. Just a reminder about the stakes that are being played in this seed. The winner of this race, they are keeping their bracket hopes alive by going to 4 and 2. You've got to think of anyone who's going to make the brackets at a 4 and 3. They would have to come out of a 4 and 2 versus 4 and 2 match as opposed to a 3 and 3 match. And that's because of the way the tiebreakers are set up. But there's a lot of speculation that can be said about that. And, you know, there's really no way that we can give you answers about that until all the calculations are made. And we can't make all the calculations while people are still playing.
Yeah, it certainly would be a problem.
I know I'm babbling a whole lot around here and just saying absolute nonsense. But what is not nonsense is the fact that we've got to fight against the Halmasar King now.
Once we do that, we just have a go mode Turtle Rock, and then we are on our way to Ganon's Tower.
There's really no way you can do go mode Turtle Rock different than a non-go mode Turtle Rock unless Laser Bridge turns out not to be required. Except for you're not going to the big key chest. Unless you have to, because the big key turns out to be there. And ninjembro getting hugged by the Halmasar King probably didn't like those hugs.
He'll certainly like the crystal that Helmsar's about to drop. As well as another piece of heart.
Which completes the heart container, which is going to save him a couple of frames when we get to the end of the sequence, because he'll just be able to swirl around his sword and head on out of here and head to Turtle Rock. Well, first, before he does that, he's going to make a pretty good decision here to buy some potions. And that's because you don't really want to go up to Ganon's tower without the potions in hand, knowing you're about ready to do what you perceive to be a Master Sword Ganon fight. We could still find a sword somewhere. We don't know where they are.
There are 2 more to be found. Both runners have found the same 2 that were at Bonk Rocks and Catfish.
Where do you think the swords are?
I would say probably one of them is probably in those 2 chests at the basement of Swamp. And
That is a good possibility, yep.
We could also find one in Turtle Rock.
We definitely could. One could be on Laser Bridge for all we know. One could be on the pedestal.
Yeah, we don't know what is there. Now, the logic will not require you to do Master Sword Silvers, so it will make sure that you have access to at least 3 sword upgrades.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You don't necessarily have, or you're not necessarily going to find all 3 of those swords in the routing.
Exactly.
So there's the Ice Rod and Go mode for Raja, but that comes about 13 minutes after it did for ninjembro, and Raja does know that he's in Go mode as well and heads towards the remainder of this dungeon. And I think what really this race came down to is a decision that Raja made, putting off Misery Mire for so long.
Well, hopefully if we get him in for an interview, we'll certainly ask about that.
Hi there, Big Key. I guess we're not going to be checking the Big Key chest this go around.
Nope. Now we just need to find 3 small keys and we can get 2 Trinex.
But is this seed really going to make it easy for these runners to get 3 keys?
I mean, it hasn't really been making things easy thus far.
Raja is going to check these 2 chests. What do we have inside?
whole lot of nut.
Ah, nuts.
Now, if you've certainly been enjoying what both these runners have been putting on for us today, be sure to give both Ninjembro and RajaLikeTheTiger a follow on Twitch.
I like the name RajaLikeTheTiger. It's one of the fun names out there. Ninjembro getting hit with the jelly before he's able to step off the platform. That has happened to me a few times. It is very salt-inducing.
It's the second time.
Yeah, took it a little more patiently. Didn't want himself to get back off here. We know that the chain chomps are going to have a small key to go around because the key count's certainly sitting at 0, and how are you going to get through that door otherwise? Ooh, and Ninjembro trying to set himself up pretty nicely here for the chain chomps. Unfortunately, he stepped out the platform, he ends up taking a death, and he goes back to start. But thankfully, he was able to get that chest open. And Raja having the same issues that Ninjembro did with the silver arrows.
But gets Argus down.
Those are angry sword slashes from Ninjembro. Not really happy with how this part of Turtle Rock is going. These are probably nerves speaking at this point.
We now see the wild Ninjembro galloping through the Rock of Turtles, although there are no turtles in Turtle Rock.
Whose fault is that?
The developers, I would imagine. I mean, you have these tubes here that you're bouncing around in.
Now, worst case scenario here for Ninjembro, it would require him to empty out his magic. We're not going to see him do it at this point in Turtle Rock. But worst case scenario is that he can fake powder the anti-fairies if he absolutely needs to.
He turned in the mushroom.
Never mind that, because he turned in the mushroom and got rewarded so handsomely for it. There's your second small key. Laser Bridge will be skipped this seed.
Yep. Ninjembro has all the keys necessary to get to Trinex.
Which means we're going to be soon playing a game for keys. But we're going to talk about that once we're done with Trinex. As Ninjembro here will be facing off against Trinex real soon. And considering Ninjembro's nerves at this point, they seem a little rattled after taking the death to the chain chomps. You've got to wonder how well his nerves are going to react to the upcoming fight. Master Sword, Trinex.
Might we see the corollary to the menu simulator?
We probably will see him switch over to the hammer, which will make the fight a little faster at that point.
But here we go. Ninjembro is going to head into the fight.
Okay, so if he does do the item menu simulator, he's going to spray the ice rod. No, he's going to go fire rod first because he doesn't want the ice on the floor, apparently. So he's going to wait out this. Oh, he's not even going to do the item menu simulator. He's just going straight out with the slashes. Save yourself the menu time. Didn't switch over to the ice rod in time. Got bonked by the head. Doesn't want to get bonked again because that's a painful trip back to start. Because he does 3 hearts damage on Blue Mail. Raja facing off against Cold Stare and gets 1 puff, 2 puffs, 3 puffs. You're out at the old ball game.
And now we're going to see phase 2 on Try Next for ninjembro.
Yeah, patience here. I think he's trying to be a little too aggressive with it, but he should be able to get through this fight. He's going to have to be careful now, though. There we go.
There he goes.
That's a little more nerve-wracking than it really needed to be here for ninjembro, but he's able to finish off the fight. He will grab... Oh, the tempered sword off Trinex! Oh, that's going to help for Ganon's Tower. And speaking of Ganon's Tower, Jack's referee, it's time to play a game.
Yes, because there are 22 locations where that Ganon's Tower big key can be. If you have donated either 250 bits or have subscribed to one of our 5 speed gaming channels, you can put in a guess and get in on our leaderboard. And you might want to do it fast because once we get in there, guesses are closed.
Yeah, we'll give it a couple of seconds here to get the guesses on in. I'm going to say my guess is going to be number 7 tonight. What is yours?
In honor of my Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 5 against the Celtics, I'm going 5.
Well, let's see how it goes. Good luck to everybody. Let's go ahead and do this. Jack's referee. What are going to be inside chest number 1 and 2?
We will see here in a moment. Number 1. The big key!
It's the big key in 1! Well, there goes that guessing game.
That was short.
And shoutouts to Level Lupin C, the one who is the first sub or supporter to guess 1 exactly correct. So congratulations.
And at this point, all of the randomization has been done. It is purely execution up Ganon's Tower and to the big pig.
You know, I wrote that name wrong. It's Level Up Inc. it showed up in small letters. I thought it was LVL Lupin C. My goodness. Okay, we're moving on here. Time to do the time to do the gauntlet.
At 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 15 seconds. That's internet names for you.
Don't mind me, your commentator was late trying to get himself his dinner before he went on the air here.
Oh, they heard me fumbling around because Windows Update decided to happen before I could log in, and of course it reset all of my settings. So they were having fun while I was trying to fix my mic. But now that we got all that squared away...
Yes, Lupin the Third was exactly what I was thinking when I saw that name. I'm sorry. And out of your Cleveland Cavaliers, well, I think tonight's Game 7 is a little more important. But first of all, ninjembro facing off against the Lamo 2 fight, 3 silver arrows done, and we're out of here. Shoutouts to references, timely references that have absolutely no bearing if you're watching this on our YouTube page. Hopefully when you actually do watch this back in a few years, maybe it'll be your team that's moving on to the finals. Well, I don't know. We'll find out.
Either way, Ninjembro is up to the 6th floor.
Yeah, he's doing this pretty soundly here, probably feeling good about that location of the tempered sword, which also does mean that Raja is going to be guaranteed that tempered sword as well.
Yep, and Raja is heading into Turtle Rock.
So Ninjembro winning things out, goes and gets the magic increase here. Don't forget that Ninjembro does have 2 bottles, and I don't think he used. He did use one of them against Trinex, so he's got at least one bottle in his arsenal at this point, and he'll be able to use that coming up for the Ganon fight.
Yep. And there we go. That poke with the Tempered Sword spin invoked Hyper Trolled Arm, but no problems getting it done there.
And says goodbye to the final chest of the game. Does not bother to look in it. Has no reason to do so. The only thing that would have been benefiting Ninjembro at this point would be the Butter Sword, but that's not that much of a big deal as it would be to go from Master Sword to Tempered.
All right. Ninjembro is into Aga 2.
So we get a 2 on our first cycle here, and this could be setting up for maybe a double. Yep, that's a double. So 2-2. Can we make it 3 doubles? No.
Nope.
That hit at the same time, so that only gave him 1 hit. So he just needs 1 more hit, and we go to Ganon, but we don't get that there. Gotta have to call himself down. There we go. He swung for the fences. He is now done with Aga 2, and we're going to make our way over to point. And Ninjembro probably is wondering, where is that dot done from his opponent? Because when you dig through a pendant dungeon all the way through, like he did with Thieves Town, and comes up empty, when you dig all the way through the Palace of Darkness without the hammer, you're probably thinking at this point, how do I have a chance to win this?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Well, we know how, and we'll explain it to Ninjembro when he comes in for the interview, but first, let's see how he does against the Ganon fight. He had a chance to do some spins to make this a little bit faster.
Goes ahead and pulls one of the blue potions.
Totally understandable, you don't want to die here.
Especially with only having half a heart left at that point.
And he does have the Cane of Burna if he wanted to use a safety, but Cane of Burna is not really a great safety to have for the Ganon fight.
Yeah, he's got up against the wall at this point. He should have enough slashes here. Yep, he's into phase 3.
Yeah, he had to be at that point, the way he was spamming the sword. Man. Stop warping!
That was like, what, 6?
One more hit, we move on to stage 4. Stop warping! Stop warping! Would you please stay still, Ganon? Come on! Stay still! Come on! Let me hit that sword on you. There we go!
We should probably point out at this point that the RNG is set up that both runners will have this same amount of warps in their first go-around.
There we go. That's going to be a double.
Yep.
That'll be a single. 3. He's going to have to relight the torches. Yeah, he's going to have to relight the torches before you can get the 4th hit on him. And sets up the arrows. There we go. And then Ninjembro continues his path for brackets as he will beat RajaLikeTheTiger in this 1v1 race to improve to 4-2. Get us ready to go through the doors, and Dex referee, give us the final time.
That is an official SRTV time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 49 seconds. Spam those GGs in chat.
You get to drink from the fire hose. That's the first time I've seen that.
Wow. Well,
okay. Congratulations, ninjembro.
Hey.
Who is joining us in chat? GG, you get to drink from a fire hose.
What's up?
Okay, so first of all, how do you think you won this race?
I'm not 100% certain. For a very long time, I thought I was behind. I think the two things that solidified it were getting sword from catfish when I did, and randomly deciding to check and finding hammer on my way to getting the book to go up to Hera.
Well, you got two of them.
Well, the interesting thing is that when you got that sword off the catfish, that was your first sword, but Raja had already found another sword. The one that you got for your master sword.
I don't even remember which one that was.
Bonk rocks.
Oh, yeah, I figured. When I found the boots where I did, I was like, oh no, he may have had the boots for a really, really long time. This is really bad.
He had them for a bit before you, but the other thing that kind of made the difference in the race is Raja took forever to go into Misery Mire to get, was it the mirror?
It was the mirror that led to the hammer that led to the ice rod for go mode.
Yeah. Yeah, going Misery Mire just seemed like a no-brainer to me there at that point.
And Raja ended up clearing off the remainder of Thieves Town. He did the first 4, then took the Death Warp out, then went back in, finished that, had nothing inside, went to Skull Woods, finished that off, had nothing inside.
Oh, wow.
And at that point, the only thing that really dropped that was beneficial for Raja was the red mail on Mothula, but that really wasn't anything that was major or earth-shaking at this point. And the other thing that would really have to be pointed out at this point was he decided to go up to the Tower of Hera with that mirror instead of doing the Graveyard Ledge as well as the Haunted Grove check.
Oh, wow.
We were waiting for him to open up that pedestal to see what was inside, but he never did.
Where's he at now?
He just entered Ganon's Tower.
Okay.
Just got the big key.
Okay. Well, yeah, big key as number 1 was pretty nuts.
Yeah, Level Up Inc. loved that one because that's the number they guessed in the big key guessing game.
Nice. Nice. Congrats to Level Up Inc. Yeah, that was a crazy seed. I felt really behind for a very long portion of it. Like, when I went and bought bombs and then found bombs in the Thieves' Hideout, and then when I found Hook Shot as one of the last possible items to open up more stuff, like, really early I felt like the seed was really stacked against me in the way I was playing. But as the seed progressed and I found swords and the hammer in really like odd locations, I guess, compared to like what was open to me.
Well, sorry.
It just kind of at that point I started to feel like not that I was ahead, but that it was going a little bit better at that point.
And correct me if I'm wrong. You did not go to the Ice Rod Cave to get the hook shot early on, correct?
Correct. I thought about going there because I'm usually one of the I'm one of those people that'll go there even if it's out of the way. Like I'll just go there during my my south route. But I was like, well, I can fake flippers, do the waterfall and Zora check, so I'll do that. And then decided that going all the way back to Ice Rod Cave would be a waste of time when I still had Sarashala's Hut and Eastern to check and a bunch of other stuff.
So what led you back there? Was it the flute that led you back there?
Yeah, I was like, well, I might as well go back there at this point because when I got the flute, unless I'm remembering incorrectly, the only things I had left to check were that and Agana.
Yep.
Oh, right, yes.
Which both had really good items.
Yep, you're right. Now, one thing of note, You had to double up Death Mountain because of the way you routed it. Turns
Right.
out that Raja ended up having to double up on the Death Mountain as well because Raja, once he ended up leaving, once he got the Titan he went to Spiral Cave, which had the shovel.
Oh, wow.
Go to the Dark World, where the bow was.
Wow. That's crazy. Like,
And
we both just had really weird, crazy routing on this seed, depending on what you decided to prioritize.
Now,
I mean-
one thing of interest here is the fact that both of you guys were on the same route when you guys went to the Palace of Darkness the first time around.
Yeah, it was pretty close there for a while, and then it was coming down to both of you needed the hammer and the ice rod, and once you found the hammer first, and Raja waited a while. Well, there was also the mirror. Sorry, commentator, forgetting things.
That's been a theme of my night.
But anyway, the general point I was trying to make was you guys were pretty close, and then it was basically once you got on the right path, that was what kind of got you going the rest of the way.
Right.
This was one of those kind of, oh, there's the powder.
Oh, where was the powder?
6th floor, left chest.
Oh, wow. That would have been nice to find a little earlier. I had and there were some things that just made me feel like, if I was really close, I got really far behind, like the death to the chain chomps and stuff like that.
I will say this, though. Actually, let me answer this question, then I'll say what I was going to say. Was the death the chain chomps out of nerves? Were you feeling nervous when you're going into Turtle Rock?
Not really. At that point, I figured at worst I was a little bit behind. Like, I didn't think at that point in time that I was so far behind that, I had to play perfectly. But I wasn't 100% certain that I was ahead. But the death was just, I don't know, the RNG there just kind of really messed with me, and I just wasn't playing optimally. I'll actually openly admit, so far in this entire tournament, the only randomizers that I've done since the tournament start have been my tournament matches. I've not been practicing in between or anything.
Well, you've got a very important match coming up. Now, one last question before we talk about next week.
Sure.
You ended up getting Tempered Sword at Trinex. How happy were you to see that?
Oh my god. I was so incredibly happy to see that. The main reason I bought those 2 blue potions I did toward the end were on the off chance that I had to do Master Sword Ganon. And I ended up having to blow both of them before. Although I had to blow one of them before, right during the Trinex fight.
Yeah, you used one at Trinex, you used the second one at Ganon.
Yeah, but once I found that Tempered Sword, I was like, oh, okay, this is fine. And I was glad I had that second blue potion, because, only having blue mail, I had a lot of hearts, but I didn't have any other safeties or anything. It was really nice to have that second blue potion, and since I had to, the first time I got the potion, I was already there, checking the mushrooms, so it wasn't bad. I felt a little risky going there the second time because it was just purely to buy potions and not to check an item, but I figure buying 2 potions is a very small time loss compared to the loss if I were to die. And I usually don't go out of my way for those safeties, but the way, just with the kit that I had, and I didn't have I didn't have Tempered Sword, I figured if I was going to have to do Master Sword Ganon and Master Sword Trinex and all this other stuff, I was going to go get those potions just as a little safety.
It's understandable. You're going to keep yourself alive more than anything else. So, Jax Referee, anything you want to add about this?
No, I think, Rick, you've pretty much covered everything I wanted to ask.
I do want to ask one more question, though.
Sure.
Next week, you're 4 and 2. You're in that gauntlet with a whole bunch of other runners with a chance to make it to brackets. Your thoughts going into week 7?
Honestly, as weird as it probably sounds, I'm less scared going into week 7 as I was going into this week. Only because going into this week, I knew to guarantee a spot in the brackets, I had to win the next two. And with one win, I know next week will be, on paper, a tougher opponent, and I'm sure it will be. But pulling out the W this week after a couple bad weeks, there's a little bit of a confidence boost. And, whatever happens, happens. So I'm actually not too worried going into next week. I think it'll be fun. Whoever my opponent will be a really good matchup. I'm sure it'll be a great race. So I'm excited for it.
We will certainly hope to see that. RajaLikeTheTiger has finished off Ganon, so
Nice.
we just gotta wait for him to get through the door. And now that he does that, we can give you his official SRTV time of 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 46 seconds. Spam those GGs in chat.
Yeah, definitely GG to Raja. Too worried going into next week. I think it'll be fun. Whoever my opponent will be. That was a much scarier race than I thought it was going to be. Just with the way that seed progressed.
Certainly hope to see that. RajaLikeTheTiger
Hold on
has
just one
finished
second,
off
okay?
Ganon, so
Sure. Nice.
we just gotta wait for him to get through the door. And now that he does that, we can give you his official SRTV time of 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 46 seconds. Spam those GGs in chat.
Yeah, definitely GG to Raja. Too worried going into next week. I think it'll be fun.
Okay, there we go. We got that turned off now. Sorry about the alcohol, everybody. So let's see. We'll see whether or not we can get Raja in here for an interview, find out what they had to think about this run here.
Mhm.
But it was definitely one of those interesting. I hate using the word interesting races because I've been using it way too much this tournament. Let me say that this one actually just felt like it was linear. It really felt linear.
It really was.
Except for in two
if you go back and if you go back and really follow the logic, it was pretty linear. It was all about where the runners ended up going.
Yeah.
Made the difference.
If they checked anything that was away from the next step, they got themselves into trouble.
Yeah.
As we noted before, once you guys got your first sword, the play was Misery Mire.
Yeah. I got that sword. I forget when I got the sword of Misery Mire I think it immediately became open.
Yeah, it did.
But I didn't go there.
You had bombos, you had the lamp, you had the cane of Samaria, so it was 100% clearable.
Yeah, I decided to go into pod though. Actually, funny thing with that sword. When I was heading east, in Dark World, my girlfriend's here and she knows nothing about Randomizer. But I was like, this question's going to make no sense, but should I go to Catfish, yes or no? And she said yes, so I went to Catfish. Had she said no, I would have gone to the Pyramid and just gone to Pod right away.
That's interesting. So we have to give Ninjembro's girlfriend an assist for giving him what he needed to beat this run.
It was pretty funny. I was like, there's a good chance that that just help win. So that was definitely a good assist.
Yep.
And we welcome RajaLikeTheTiger into here. So your thoughts on the seed? All right, we'll take 1 minute on that. Just for full disclosure, you were the first one to Catfish, so we had no idea what Catfish was going to have. We just knew that the first sword was at Bonk Rocks by that point.
Okay. Did he end up going to Bonk Rocks? Or to Catfish?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so he got his Master Sword there and then got tempered off Trinex.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
right, well, while we wait for Raja, there are 2 more races going on tonight on these Speed Gaming channels. We have Number Play versus Genja23, which is a 5-0 match. Oh, no, wait, no, that's not a 5-0 match, but that's on Speed Gaming 5. Flip versus Hippo on Speed Gaming 4, that is a 5-0 match.
Yeah, I believe the Genja match is a 4-1.
All right, well, I'm just gonna say GG to Raja, like the tiger, and thanks to Rick and Jex for doing commentary. I'm gonna head out of here. It's getting a little late, so I'm gonna head to bed to get up for work in the morning.
Blame me there.
And also thanks to the tracker, a really, in my opinion, underappreciated position. Looks like that was Iceman F1 for doing the tracking.
Yes, shout outs to him for keeping track of all of our items. Again, please be sure to give both Ninjembro and Raja Like the Tiger a follow on Twitch. They put on quite the show for us today.
Yeah. All right. Again, thanks to everyone. I'm going to head out of here and see you guys next week, hopefully.
Unfortunately, it looks like Raja's microphone is not working, so if Raja has anything they want to say, they can go ahead and put it into the chat. Making the note the Ice Palace was a mistake going in there without the hammer. Looked like he didn't realize he had bombos until he was in there. Just the delaying Misery Mire, I think, is probably what cost Raja the most amount of time in this run.
Yeah, I would certainly concur with that.
So it just was unfortunate, and yeah, Raja said when he found the mirror he knew he lost. I think the other question I wanted to find out is that why you did Hera, out of the hopes that if the pedestal was required, that for the ice rod, that or for the hammer at that point, that you may have had a chance to still win? Wow, so it was the whole thing about not knowing that he had bombos. So that's unfortunate, but you know, I really don't know what else I can say about that.
I mean, it certainly happens. I mean, there are plenty of times where, as a runner, you're in there and you just get in the zone, and sometimes you just make mental mistakes that.
Oh wait, I have this item. Shoot, how long have I had this item?
Yeah,
that's exactly the kind of moves you end up making.
Happens to the best of us.
But definitely GG to you, Raja Like the Tiger. Good job for getting it finished off, and good luck to you in week number 7.
Absolutely. All right. I believe with that, we are going to finish up shop here. This was certainly a very good race to watch. Rick, it was certainly a pleasure commentating with you tonight.
Definitely was fun doing this with you. Maybe we'll get the chance to do some more down the road. Special thanks to Iceman_F1, who is our tracker and has done an awesome job, not only for this race, but other races that they've helped us out as tracker and also as restreamer for this tournament.
Absolutely. One final shout out to both of our runners, Ninjembro and Raja Like the Tiger. With that, I think that's going to wrap up shop here. As mentioned earlier, we have races going on Speed Gaming 4 and 5 right now.
So with that, we do thank you for joining us and hope you come back for Wings of Vi coming up at 10 o'clock here on Speed Gaming 2, or the other various races we got going on throughout the Link to the Past Randomizer tournament, both here and also on ALTTPR Randomizer. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.